Hey, we are talking about appraisals today. And I would say this is one of the things that there's the most myths and understanding, both among the public and professionals. I think we see a lot of comments and conversation from professionals I would say is not, it does not show a firm grasp of what the appraisal process is. And there's always a lot of back and forth, and I've even seen appraisers argue on both sides of what actually counts and what really matters and all of that stuff. But I think when we're talking just in a general sense, the thing that I would like to hammer on, especially for agents, so that we can set the expectations with the public and they will understand, is that an appraisal is another person's opinion of the value of the house. It is as accurate as any other opinion, maybe a little more accurate than many, but it's not more accurate than the purchase price. It's not more accurate than the market arrived at.
Or what other professionals, whatever it is. I mean, two appraisers can come up with this a different number. You know, we've unfortunately both experienced situations where you're like, they listed the house for what?
Yeah.
That definitely was not worth it. Both sides either undercut the seller like crazy or overpriced it to where it's to that seller's detriment. Or there's been, hey, I've seen houses going, they want what? And then it's under contract in a second. And I'm like, seriously? Huh.
Right. And I've also had the experience where we, had to hire another lender because the appraisal came in so low, and two lenders, same house, same market, $60,000 difference. So that, just shows you that there isn't an actual exact answer. And so when I see agents saying, get an appraisal that will tell you the answer, that's not the answer. That's just an answer. Sometimes if there's a very hard to price house, you might get that just so you have some more information and you have someone else's opinion, but understand that it's someone else's opinion. It's not the answer. I've seen people who are adamantly stuck on a price because they had an appraisal and the market's not buying it. That's not the price.
Right.
So
and there's times, I mean, trust me, there's times that you want an, appraiser. Well, most of the time you want the appraisal to go high, right? But I mean, an appraiser who is helping with a refi or something like that, or that's not as important to be super to the point. There's not necessarily a price point that they're trying to do. They're either trying to get it to, so you got to understand that the differences in the appraiser's job too. When it's talking about, will they get lending or will they just, be able to get rid of their PMI?
Yeah. And an appraisal isn't supposed to be independent of the market. That is ridiculous. So I've seen people say, why do they need a copy of the contract? And how, it's pretty uncanny how it always comes in right on the button. It's supposed to. That's their job. They're justifying the purchase price to the bank. They're not creating something out of whole cloth that has no basis in reality.
And the appraisers who don't understand that, who think it's their job to put the brakes on the market themselves.
Yes.
I don't understand why supply and demand, makes sense. Suddenly appraisers are all about it when there's nothing on the market.
Is it the appearance of supply and demand? Is it the myth of supply and demand? No, I think it's called the law of supply and demand.
Right. But they, suddenly it doesn't matter when it's 4 houses in a whole neighborhood for the last 3 months. Yeah. That shouldn't be more, but darn it, when it was however many years ago these days now, 12 years ago, 13 years ago, when every other house was on the market, suddenly they were okay with valuing houses at $60,000. What?
Yeah. Right. Oh, it's just worth half of what it cost to build it.
Correct. Like 5 minutes ago.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
That's the market, right? So we as realtors, we have a love-hate relationship with appraisers, and they do with us too. Most of the ones I've met have been fabulous and really good at their jobs and very interested and looking for my input. I said on our other one, I like to give information that's not in the MLS. Something smelled like cat pee, or somebody was in a situation where they needed to dump their house really quickly. When I know those things, just to kind of justify why something might look like an anomaly, things that they can't figure out. I mean, you've done it. You do CMAs and you're like, why did this house, what happened here? Well,
And that's another way for us to prove to the appraiser that we really know the market, that we have our pulse on everything. When we're able to say, this house here had this house here is that, this, then they really understand that you're an expert. And even if it's not a neighborhood that you're always in, make sure you do the right due diligence when you do get a listing or find a house that's in an area that you might not know like the back of your hand, like you might not know your farming area or whatever.
yeah.
But if it's a little out, that you definitely have to take that extra steps to really immerse yourself into that market at that time.
Right. And if you're not doing that, you don't know the value when you put it on the house either. So if you're taking listings outside of your immediate market, which we do, but we do the work, we do the research. So make sure you do that up front, and then you'll have that to share with an appraiser. Don't tell your buyers that an appraiser's answer is the value and that they shouldn't pay over that. That's ridiculous. They're not going to get a house in a seller's market.
In this type of market now.
And, appraisers can only look in the rearview mirror. So they're looking at houses that went under contract 3 months ago. That's the only thing they can do. That's all they've got. So if your buyers need to do a gap waiver, then do it. Just help them understand that appraiser's opinion is an opinion, and that they want to pay, the actual value, which could be considerably over list price in many cases. And it's our job to help them understand. And in order to do that, we need to understand. So get out there and get some good appraisals.
We will see you next week when we are at the final kind of last little run of the buyers or sellers, system, which is clear to close, right?
Yep.
After appraisal, you're just waiting for that to come in.
Yep.
In our market. Yes.
See you next week.
So, all right. Bye-bye.